I'm in my car today, and you know what that means. Road trip. Today I'm headed to an antique shop in Chicago called Beyond Grandma's House Vintage. And besides showing you around all the antiques and collectibles, including a space capsule replica signed by Tom Hanks, we're going to meet a very interesting man named Ivar Burke. He's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to old film equipment, which he has amassed his whole life, and it's available for purchase in the store. Now, believe it or not, this antique store that we're going to, it's located in a converted boiler room of the old American Licorice Company. I think we're in for a treat. This is what it looked like many years ago, and this is what it looks like today. The entryway to the store is a circuitous route through the loading dock. We follow the arrows and the signs. You can tell by all this old stuff outside that we're getting close. As soon as you step inside, you're greeted warmly by the owner, Mary Jo.
Hi, welcome to Beyond Grandma's House Vintage. How can I help you?
At first you might think that this large room is the store, but oh wait, there's more. There's not one large room, but four. And the largest room has 3 long aisles that span the length of the building. There's no way to grasp the sheer volume on one walkthrough. There's stuff above, below, in every space. Let's start back at the front where I came in and take it a little bit slower. As we work our way around the room, in front of us are some Christmas-related items. There's also an old wooden ringer washstand, a table full of Corningware. To the right of that are clocks, typewriters, stereo equipment, decanters. Here's an old factory cart filled with more items, toys, sports memorabilia. There are lockers, more old toys, old record players, and records. Here's a workbench filled with old tools, toolboxes, oil cans, and other containers from back in the day. Here's a cool upcycled lamp made on a dimmer switch from an industrial piece of equipment. As we continue making our way around the room, here are 2 wooden cocoa crates from the 1800s. All that was just room number 1. To the right of the entryway is room number 2, where we find vintage hats, figurines. Here's a huge collection of salt and pepper shakers. Here we have some hot home entertainment equipment. There's a lot more items to see in this room, but we need to move on. Back to the first room where we continue our journey to get to room number 3. This room contains some furniture, lamps, toys, houseware items, and that space capsule I was telling you about. This capsule was probably a prop. Perhaps it was at a theater when the movie came out.
Houston, we have a problem.
Next, we head to the 4th and largest of all the rooms. This one I mentioned has 3 aisles that run the length of the building. It would take me way too long to show you everything. So I'm going to have to zip through this part of the tour because we still need to meet with Mr. Ivar Burke. Here we have sewing machines and other related items. A pinball machine. Beautiful antique furniture. I love these theater seats. I think I'm going to have to get me one of those. A bunch of movie tins and cases. We haven't even reached the end of the aisle. These are movie projectors from the 1950s and earlier. We're going to come back here to learn more about this stuff when Mr. Burke arrives. Now aisle 2. Here's a great industrial workbench. There's lots of furniture here. Some of these items are great as is, and others are great projects that can be painted, restored, or repurposed. Now on to aisle 3. This place is really packed. I think this would be a 4-hour video if I took the time to show you everything. I just got word that Mr. Burke is in the building, so let's go pick his brain and see what he knows about a lot of this old projection equipment available at Beyond Grandma's house.
I'm Ivor Burke. I live in Chicago for my whole life. Ravenswood, North Center area, not far from the Selig Film Studio at Irving and Western. Been a projectionist and machinist, precision machinist my whole life. As with my father, I followed in my father's footsteps of helping him with the theater business, equipment, buying it, rebuilding it, servicing it, installing it. Worked at the Portage, the Congress, at the Chicago Theater, the Gateway Theater. Well, these are the shipping film cans that would come with the film. And Monogram, at one period of the film trade, this is a shipping can for the 35 millimeter films made by a company called Goldberg Brothers. Patents and that, but Monogram was a studio. You had Warner Brothers, you had Universal, and you had Radio Corporation of America, RKO. This is an Acme portable projector made in Chicago over on Orchard. Later became Society of Visual Education. And it was a silent machine, and you had two side by side, a take-up reel and a supply reel, and you can see sprockets on both sides. And it was a little portable machine, incandescent lamp. When you went into a movie theater at a greater distance that this lamp could do, they came up with a carbon arc using two carbons. This one's in there right now. You can see it's in there. And then you can see you would move the position of the carbon arcs, and you would have DC rectifier bringing up electricity so they would burn and exhaust. You had to exhaust them. Here is the box.
So what the point of this machine was?
For light, for making light stronger than the light bulb.
And how would this hook up to the projector?
Instead of this, on this machine you wouldn't use it, but instead of that, you would have this mounted here. Okay, this is a Simplex standard, and these were made at the early silent film and sound film. But this model has where a hand crank could go in, and you could turn the machine by hand. But again, it's a 35 intermittent, and then later sound came on, and here's an Ultraphone, another company, not IPC, International Projector Corporation, Simplex. But in here, you can see a Western Electric 1 photoelectric cell, and here you have a light bulb that would shine through the lens system. That's just a regular tungsten filament light bulb, finely wound, very precise, so you could focus it and it would get onto the photoelectric cell, and you get your sound. This is a little suitcase projector, and by going on the internet looking at Made in Chicago, they'll have a very good detailed history about Herman DeVry. He started educational films and for training, besides theatrical release. But here again, it's a side-by-side. Here's you have two reels, a supply and a take-up. And then you have the gate, if you can see that clearly enough. And then you see the lamp house. With time, it's gotten, the old Mazda lamp. Oh, the bulbs last, depending on the life that they were treated with, it's 10, 15, 20 hours dry. And these were made here in Chicago also, model 2812, and they were made before 1940, but the government in World War II bought loads and loads of them for training the troops, and the supply reel would go up here. You can see the little, that hits a bell in the back when the film is run out. And then the projectionist would know, well, here, let's finish with this. The upper, here's the gate, and then here's the sound stabilizer, and here's the take-up, and the take-up would go here. And to do a changeover, when you heard the bell, you'd pay attention, and the machine would have this on there. It's a SNA zipper, but it would be running like this. The dowser, the little to cut the light out, and then you would press the button or foot pedal, and it would close the light to this one and open the light to the other one. Also do the sound. And you can see in here, again, same configuration. This is the sound exciter lamp and the photoelectric cell. This is a Holmes made in Chicago again. They were made before the war, but this model was made for government. That's why the Battleship Gray. And you'd put this new reel up here on the top. And here you would have the threading. Here's the threading diagram. Here's the exciter lamp and the photoelectric cell. And then you'd have the take up here, and you can see it. And then you open up the dowser. This is moving 24 times in a second. That's giving the motion that consecutive series of films. Now, if we had a screen and a film in there, you'd be seeing a motion picture.
What a great pleasure it was to meet with Ivar Burke and listen to his stories. It wasn't just about his stories, but also my story, where it intersected with his. When I was a teenager watching a movie in a theater in my neighborhood, it's very possible that Ivar Burke was in the projection room manning the controls. If you're ever in the Chicago area near Pulaski and Fullerton, wait, better yet, even if you're not, it's worth the effort to take a trip to Beyond Grandma's House Vintage. And just like Grandma's house, you can stop in and have yourself a free cup of coffee. So I encourage you to check them out in the future if you're ever interested in taking a walk through the past.